Instructions to the crew will be coming at T-minus 10 minutes. They'll configure their displays for launch. That'll give them insight into how the launch is proceeding, and it provides constant updates on vehicle health. And for Dragon at T-minus 5 minutes, we'll hear it enter terminal count as they transition to internal power. Now we're going to hear continued callouts on the countdown net as we get close to T-minus 0 and to the liftoff. Now, Gary, we talked about the ascent sequence of events that are coming up here. You and Jesse went through that a little while ago, but we're also going to have abort modes. Can you explain a little bit about what the abort mode callouts are that we might hear?
We don't want that.
That's right, John. We're continuing to track that the Falcon 9 and Dragon are looking good for launch, but just in case anything were to happen, Dragon is fully prepared to initiate an abort and use those Super Draco engines to escape from a speeding Falcon 9. On the way uphill, you'll hear a series of letter and number combinations. Those will denote the stage that the rocket is on and the abort zone that we're on as well. On the first stage, you'll hear abort zones A and B. That will cover the Falcon 9's ascent up to about the northern border of North Carolina, about 7.5 to 8 miles in altitude. And the stage 2 will have stage 2A through E. Mostly it will be stage A, or stage 2A abort zone, but towards the end of the 6 minutes that stage 2 will be firing, you'll hear the numbers start going out from B to E, with E being an abort to orbit. All of these capabilities enabled on the Dragon spacecraft to make sure that the crew will be delivered safely into orbit. Inside 10 minutes and 30 seconds, we should be hearing some final status, maybe a good luck and Godspeed from some of the ground teams here, ensuring that the crew is ready to go. That Falcon 9, Dragon, and all the support teams are ready for launch.
So if this fails today, they'll do it in another 3 days. Oh, T-minus 10.
Dragon, SpaceX, confirmed crew displays are configured for launch.
Displays are configured for launch.
SpaceX copies. Shane, Megan, Aki, Tama. We're thrilled to have crew on board Endeavour once again, and truly honored to have you all at the helm. It's been a pleasure training alongside you ahead of this historic launch. We wish you a great mission, good luck, and enjoy the ride.
Thank you, Chad, Christian, Frank, and all the teams who got our crew and vehicle ready for this mission. We want to say a special thank you to our families and friends. We're incredibly grateful for your support and sacrifice during our training and our upcoming flight. Our crew is flying astronauts from NASA, ESA, and JAXA, which hasn't happened in over 20 years. We're excited to represent our nations, agencies, and all of humanity. Off the Earth, for the Earth, Endeavour is ready to go.
Excited?
All right, some celebratory handshakes from inside the Crew Dragon. That was the voice of the Corps, Chad Healy, here in Mission Control Hawthorne. Next series of events, John, will be the engine chill. Everything's looking good so far.
Need a wider
There it
angle
is.
lens for the
We're actually watching
astronaut.
the fuel trim valves on the Merlin 1D engines, going through some checkouts right now. And as you said, at T-minus 7 minutes, we're going to start a sequence of events that begins with opening the pre-valves.
In front of me,
Currently,
so,
the liquid oxygen and kerosene fuel on the
place.
Falcon 9 first, second stages is separated from the Merlin engines. T-minus 7 minutes, just over a minute from now, we open the pre-valves. That allows propellant down to the top of the engine or the inlet to the turbo pumps. At the same time, we open up bleed valves on the turbo pumps, and that allows a little bit of that densified ultra-cold liquid oxygen to flow through the pump and to chill down the liquid oxygen pump. That way, when we get to T-minus 2 seconds and we spin the pumps up and everything comes to full power, we're not pulling very cold liquid oxygen to the warm pumps. So as that cools it down right now, that'll get it ready for that ignition sequence in the last couple of seconds. So we should hear that call out that the stage 1 engine chill has started. You'll also hear in flight, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes into flight, MVAC chill has begun. That's also a repeat sequence there. where we open the bleed valve and begin chilling that engine one more time before it lights after stage separation. Right now we're waiting to see the pre-valves come open and the chill begin.
Stage 1 engine chill has started.
I love
Yep,
nighttime
and there's
launches.
the call out. We've got indication pre-valves coming open on the engines. And we have begun to chill in the Merlin engines for flight.
That's right, John. Now inside 6 minutes, 40 seconds. RP1 rocket-grade kerosene is completely filled in the second stage. We're anticipating about 30 more seconds for the first stage to be completely filled with that RP1 refined kerosene.
So this was scheduled for yesterday, but it was the weather wasn't great.
The liquid oxygen will continue to flow through the first and second stages up to the final minutes before
Stage
T0.
1 RP load is complete.
My
All right,
drink of the day as
confirmation, we
normal is
have
Pepsi
100%
Max.
fill of RP1 on both the first and second stages. 6 minutes to go until an instantaneous launch window today. The next milestone will be Dragon to transition to configure for terminal count. And this time, terminal count, the Dragon will be on internal power, no longer relying on the lines from the ground. And from there, the Falcon 9 propellant tanks will pressurize for strong back retract. That'll be another visual milestone. The clamps just below the Dragon's unpressurized trunk will open, and the strong back will tilt back just 2 degrees. Then right after liftoff, back to 45 degrees.
Wonder what their zero indicator
Again,
is today.
RP1 kerosene, both on the first and second stages. Liquid oxygen continues to flow through on the first and second stages. That very densified, very cold liquid oxygen.
Dragon has transitioned to configure for terminal count.
Sounds so
Falcon 9
final, doesn't
propellant
it?
tanks are pressurizing
Terminal.
for strong back retract.
All right, John, good calls and right on time. Dragon is now on internal power.
Okay, next major event coming up is going to be opening the clamp arms around the second stage in preparation for retracting the strong back away from the vehicle to get ready for liftoff.
Strong back is retracting.
We heard the call out, strong back is beginning to retract. We're into the automated sequence. We should see the clamp arms that are just visible there around the top of the second stage begin to open up. Once they are open, then the strong back will begin to move away from the Falcon 9.
At least it doesn't fall over. I've always wondered why they stay upright. Could you imagine holding a Saturn V up? And I suppose the same with Starship as well.
Watching the sequence, a nice view from up on top of the fixed service structure. The arms are opening. And we're beginning to recline away from the Falcon 9. We'll move the strong back 2 degrees away from the Falcon 9. That'll get it ready for liftoff. And at T0, when the flight computer commands liftoff, the hydraulics on the strong back will pull it to a position 45 degrees away from the Falcon 9, giving it the clearance for launch. So right now, the strong back is moving away. Everything proceeding nominally.
Very slowly.
It's great to hear, John. We're also anxiously awaiting the liquid oxygen complete on the first stage. Should hear that call very shortly.
I've moved my viewing monitor into the middle so I don't lose my attention.
Dragon has transitioned to terminal count and is on internal power. Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
Okay, we've heard the call out. Stage 1 LOX load is complete. We're loading liquid oxygen on the second stage for about another 30 seconds or so. Once we get the liquid oxygen load complete on the second stage, The propellant line that runs up the side of the strongback that carries liquid oxygen, we'll vent that line down to make sure there's no liquid in it when we get to liftoff. When we do that, we open up valves on the strongback, and as Kate and Marie were talking earlier, when we vent off that very cold gaseous oxygen, it'll merge with the warm, humid Florida air, and you'll get a large white plume of condensation off of the back of the strongback. That'll be normal, coming about a minute and a half before launch. Everything continuing to look good.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
This is from Launch Complex 39A at
Dragon
Kennedy.
is in auto idle.
All right, with that, the Falcon 9 is fully fueled. We have fuel on both the first and second stages, and both stages are filled with liquid oxygen.
Gas closeout has started. Expect loud venting.
Good to know.
Dragon is also in auto idle. The flight computer is on Dragon, maintaining their calculations, standing by, waiting for the T0 mark.
They're going to do a booster recovery on the
1
drone
minute, 15
ship.
seconds
Of course, I still
until
love you.
launch. The 1 minute mark, Dragon will transition to countdown, and the flight termination system will arm. The computers on Falcon 9 will be talking to the computers on Dragon and can issue an abort if necessary.
FTS is armed. Falcon 9 is in startup and is now controlling. Dragon is in countdown.
Here we go.
All right, 50 seconds to go. Everything is ready for an on-time launch today.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
Copy, go for launch.
Ground teams are ready, and the crew inside Dragon is ready. 30 seconds to go until launch.
Seconds.
Quiet. Where's the T-minus counter?
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Mission and liftoff. Godspeed, Endeavour and Crew-2.
Copy, 1 Alpha.
Endeavour launches once again. 4 astronauts from 3 countries on Crew-2, now making their way to the one and only International Space Station. The vehicle is pitching downrange. 9 Merlin engines on the first stage, providing 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Hearing good calls on first stage performance so far.
Look at that. Nice view.
We are T plus 30 seconds into the second rotational crew mission on board Dragon and Falcon 9. Falcon 9 will be throttling down the 9 Merlin engines shortly here in preparation for maximum dynamic pressure. And there's that call out for the throttle down. Maximum dynamic pressure, or max Q, is the largest structural load that the vehicle sees throughout ascent. So throttling down does help us pass.
There's going to be a lot of people in the space station.
Pass through this period, which should be coming here shortly.
Max Q.
There's that call out that we have just passed through max Q.
Stage 1 throttle up.
And
1
we can
Bravo.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
All right, 1 Bravo is the second abort mode on the first stage. First stage continues to fire for 2 minutes, 35 seconds. 1.5 minutes into today's flight. Falcon 9 now traveling at more than 1,500 miles an hour.
I wonder why they do it in miles an hour and kilometers per hour on the screen.
MVAC engine chill started.
All right, the engine chill for the second stage single Merlin engine has started. About 30 more seconds of the first stage firing to bring our 4 astronauts into orbit.
Now from here, coming up in about 20-some seconds, we're going to have 3 major milestones. We'll have shutdown of the 9 Merlin engines. We're beginning to throttle them down. We will then get stage separation.
Throttle down.
And then we will get ignition of the second stage engine to propel Dragon and the Falcon 9 second stage into orbit.
2
Nico.
Alpha.
Copy, 2 Alpha.
Confirmed.
Oh, that's good.
Acquisition signal lost. In the ignition.
And we have ignition of the second stage. You see the green flash of that T-TEB fluid. The expansion nozzle on the second stage Merlin vacuum glowing that bright red that we like to see. Good performance on the second stage so far.
And on the left side of your screen, we saw the exhaust of the second stage engine streaming past the first stage as the grid fins are coming out. We also briefly had a view of the lights of Central Florida in the background. Currently, the first stage is continuing to coast up to apogee. It's unpowered. It'll reach a peak height and then begin to descend back down toward the Earth's atmosphere, where it will light 3 engines to slow down in preparation for what will be a landing burn on the drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean.
Although, of
You can
course,
see
I
the
still
grid
love
fins
you.
are deployed right now. The first stage,
Dragon,
pulsing.
SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
We're pulsing the thrusters.
Signal Bermuda.
Copy, nominal trajectory.
And we hear a call out from the crew, nominal trajectory. So we're beginning to move the first stage into position so it can do the entry burn.
I think both of these things have been reused before, like the first stage and also the crew capsule. So this is a truly reusable flight.
4 minutes, 15 seconds into today's flight. Second stage propelling our 4 astronauts up the eastern seaboard. We'll continue to fire. It's a 6-minute burn to deliver the astronauts into orbit. We'll wait for a cue for good orbital insertion after that. Meanwhile, we'll be hearing check-ins on the vehicle's trajectory and performance, as well as check-ins with some of the ground stations as it passes over throughout the 6 minutes of the second stage firing.
It's bright adjustment burns.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Copy, nominal trajectory.
Getting good views of both the first and second stage from the onboard cameras.
Acquisition of signal lost.
The New Hampshire tracking station has acquired the second stage telemetry signal. Meanwhile, the first stage has reached apogee and it's now beginning to descend from a height. It's currently about 167 kilometers up. And in a few minutes, we will get the entry burn of the second stage, of the first stage.
How hot that engine is. That must be ice on the return first stage. All those little bits of light.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Copy, nominal trajectory.
Right on cue, those check-ins on the second stage performance. Once a minute, everything's looking good on that second stage.
Propulsion is nominal.
Was there's no fairing
Stage
recovery?
2 continues to
There's
climb.
no fairing today?
The vehicle now exceeding 8,000 miles an hour at an altitude of about 124 miles.
Not that they recover the fairings anymore
And
anyway.
just
they
about
let them
1
drop in
minute
the
from
ocean and
now,
recover
we
them.
will begin the entry burn of the first stage. That'll consist of lighting the center engine, and then shortly afterwards, 2 more engines for a 3-engine burn to slow down the first stage in preparation for entering the Earth's atmosphere.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Copy, nominal trajectory.
Another check-in, and the crew confirming they're hearing the same thing. The vehicle exceeding, or about to exceed, about 10,000 miles per hour.
Meanwhile, first stage down at 90 kilometers, getting ready to relight 3 engines for the entry burn.
Grid fence moving there to do adjustments.
Stage 2 FTS has safed.
you imagine how big the grid
We've got the
Towers
center engine ignition, and there
Starship
come the two side engines.
are gonna
Now
be?
this entry burn will last about 29 seconds. It's going to significantly slow down the vehicle in preparation for hitting the denser part of the Earth's atmosphere. Entry burn complete. We're down below 35 kilometers, continuing to look good on the first stage, heading to the Atlantic Ocean for a landing on the drone ship.
While second stage is less than a minute away from cutoff.
Look, looks like sunlight's beginning to hit the upper atmosphere and the clouds.
Stage 2 in terminal guidance.
This was a pre-dawn
Shannon.
launch.
Copy, Shannon.
Shannon called out at the back end of the stage 2, a few seconds until cutoff.
Oh, lost. Oh, no.
MVAC shutdown.
SpaceX have lost their uplinks. or
Dragon,
downlinks.
SpaceX, launch escape system disarmed.
Launch escape system disarmed. Copy.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
They need to use Starlink for these video uplinks.
Copy. Nominal orbital insertion.
Right, the Falcon 9 second stage has done its job, delivering our 4 crew into orbit.
Excellent job.
You hear the applause here in Hawthorne. We're waiting to get a video signal back from the drone ship. Of course, I still love you. And the view from the onboard camera, we saw it just briefly. It looks like first stage on the drone ship.
Yay!
Getting views of the Dragon trunk. So the first stage is on the drone ship, successfully landed. And more importantly, second stage is in a nominal orbit with the Dragon spacecraft.
Excellent job.
Getting ready for some important events coming up, Gary.
That's right, about 2 more minutes. The Dragon and the second stage of the Falcon 9 will be in a coast phase.
I'll wait
It'll
until
take
then,
that long
then
until
I'll
the spacecraft separates
terminate
from the Falcon
my
9.
recording.
Of course, both now in a nominal orbit. It's great to see some of the views of the Earth as it passes by over the North Atlantic Ocean.
But don't tell flat earthers. No, see the curvature of the Earth. Oh, it's CGI. I remember now. They got their zero indicator. I wonder what their zero indicator is.
All right, we're getting shots of the crew in orbit. I'm looking for that 0G indicator. Can't seem to see it in this shot, but we have a minute to go until we have spacecraft separation. Dragon traveling at nearly 17,000 miles per hour at an altitude of 124 miles.
Looks like he's got an itchy foot.
Again, the 4-person crew of Endeavour is in orbit right now.
Bit of a fuzzy camera.
Less than 30 seconds until we have spacecraft separation.
Can't see the face of the astronaut on the left-hand side. It's all fuzzy.
10 seconds to spacecraft separation. We should hear words from the core here in Mission Control Hawthorne once we have successful separation.
Cool. Saw a quick glimpse of the zero indicator there. Excellent job.
Dragon separation control.
Dragon, SpaceX, Falcon 2 wishes you a great rest of your trip. Say hi to the crew of Dragon who's waiting for us
What a
and let them
great
know your
move.
rocket is home safe. Thanks for flying our first flight-proven, crewed Falcon 9. See you airside, Crew 2.
Thank you very much. We're great. It's glad to be back in space for all of us, and we'll send our regards to Crew 1 when we get there. Thanks.
Crew 1's been out there for a long time. Great.
Absolutely stunning views from both inside the cabin, seeing the excitement of our 4-person crew inside Endeavour, and watching Endeavour drift away from the camera on the second stage as the Earth passes by on an orbital sunrise.
SpaceX Endeavour week.
And Endeavour, you cut out a little bit there. If the question was if you're go to open visors, you are go to open visors at this time.
Copy and work. Thanks.
All right, 13.5 minutes past liftoff. The crew is in orbit, traveling at nearly 17,000 miles an hour.
Well, Gary, I don't know about you, but that was a great countdown. Everything sounded great. Right on time, actually a little ahead of time.
Nominal dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts.
Got a good orbit out of Falcon 9, and first stage landed on the drone ship. And we're in the sunlight over the Atlantic Ocean with the Dragon spacecraft. All in all, a great day.
I think everybody's jealous of the crew in orbit right now, John. These views, even just from the cameras, are absolutely stunning. It was great to see our crew members get into orbit. They already performed successful checkouts of the 12 service section Dracos around Dragon. The next milestone will be the deployment of the nose cone. That'll be about a 5-minute process, but that'll expose the forward bulkhead Dracos and prepare them for checkout. There's a phase burn. There's 5 major burns that are needed to get the Crew Dragon up to rendezvous at the International Space Station over the next 23 hours. And so that first phase burn is coming up real soon in about 35 minutes, actually less than 35 minutes.
I'm excited for them. I wonder what operating
Jesse,
system
I don't know
they
if you can
use.
see the 0G indicator, but I was told it's a penguin. I'm trying to look for it.
I'm looking for it too.
It's in the very top, and it's just moving away from that person's foot.
Keep an eye out on that left-hand screen.
Meanwhile, the Dragon is configured for a nose cone deployment. We'll stand by for when that sequence starts. The nose cone itself opens just beyond 90 degrees, about 105 degrees, to expose the forward bulkhead Dracos. Those forward bulkhead Dracos, 4 of them at the very top of the Dragon, will do the bulk of the work when it comes to firing the Draco engines for minutes at a time to increase the Dragon's speed, altitude, and phasing to catch up with the International Space Station again over the next 23 hours. Meanwhile, we're still getting camera views from the second stage, looking at that expansion nozzle. Did its work beautifully to deliver the 4 crew into orbit. Dragon over the North Atlantic Ocean.
And Gary, this is John. I think I heard a call out on one of the Dragon nets that the first set of nose cone hooks is open. So it sounds like that sequence is going well.
Very good. Well, from here in Hawthorne, it was very exciting to see the Falcon 9 lift off and deliver our 4-person crew into orbit. We're going to be with you throughout the entire phase, the rendezvous phase, until Dragon and this 4-person crew docks with the International Space Station. That'll be over the next 23 hours. We'll bring you through some of those major burns that are happening. But I am so jealous of Marie and the group over there over at the Kennedy Space Center. You actually got to see the launch and probably feel it as well. Marie, what was that like?
Oh, it was just spectacular, and you know, the sun hasn't come up yet here in Florida, but you know, we were able to just turn around and see the launch right behind us, and it lit up the sky, just absolutely breathtaking.
It was so astounding to see the colors. I mean, it was not just your usual fireball, but there was the pulsating towards the end. And Kate, you're much more eloquent describing that sequence, which I appreciate you doing that while we were
happy to help.
Staring. It was so fun, and knowing that those guys were enjoying the ride along with the sights that we got to see made all the difference. There's nothing more relieving than crew in orbit.
Indeed.